This man made nearly $1 billion gambling, not in a casino on horse races, completely legally, and you've probably never heard his name. Everyone knows the house always wins. That is the entire reason casinos exist. But these six people found the one crack in the system and walked out with fortunes. Some used pure genius, some used nerve, one used nothing but impossible luck. These are the greatest wins in gambling history. Edward Thorp, the professor who proved you could beat the casino with nothing but a pencil and paper. In the late 1950s, Edward Thorp was a mathematics professor at MIT. He became obsessed with a question everyone called foolish. Could the casino actually be beaten? Every expert said no, the house always had the edge, but Thorpe saw what they had missed. Blackjack had a memory. The cards already dealt changed the odds of the cards still to come. Using one of the only computers on Earth at the time, he ran the numbers for months. The machine confirmed it. Track the cards and the advantage flips from the casino to you. In 1961, he flew to Las Vegas to prove it with real money. In a single weekend, $10,000 became $21,000. Then he did what no gambler had ever done. He told everyone exactly how. His book, Beat the Dealer, sold over 700,000 copies and taught the entire world to count cards. The casinos panicked. They added more decks, trained dealers to spot counters, and rewrote the rules of the game. One quiet professor had forced an entire industry to defend itself. The MIT Blackjack Team. The students who turned Thorpe's math into a machine that printed money. Thorpe proved it was possible. 20 years later, a group of MIT students perfected it into something he never imagined. The flaw in counting cards alone is simple. One player who suddenly bets big is obvious. The casino spots you in seconds, so the team split the job in two. Spotters sat at tables betting tiny amounts, doing nothing but quietly counting. When a table turned hot, when the odds swung hard toward the player, they sent a hidden signal. Then the big player strolled in like a careless rich tourist, dropped into the seat at the perfect moment, bet huge while the odds were good and vanished. To the casino, it just looked like a lucky night. Across years of secret trips, they won millions. Code names, disguises, fake identities, a different city every weekend. Eventually, the casinos fought back, with facial recognition, private investigators, and shared blacklists. The golden age ended, but the legend was so good it became a Hollywood movie. Don Johnson, the man who beat Atlantic City by reading the fine print. Don Johnson didn't count cards, he didn't cheat. He beat the casinos by understanding one thing nobody else thought about. The rules themselves are negotiable. In 2011, Atlantic City was on its knees. The recession had emptied the casinos, and they were desperate for a high roller, any high roller, to walk through the door. Johnson knew that desperate casinos will bend. So before he placed a single chip, he negotiated his own private set of rules. The dealer had to stand on soft 17, he could resplit aces, and the one that mattered most, if he lost, the casino refunded 20% of every loss. That single rule quietly flipped the math. The edge no longer belonged to the house. Then he sat down and played $6 million from the Tropicana, $5 million from the Borgata, $4 million from Caesars, $15 million in 6 months. He broke no rules. He simply made the casinos offer him a game they could not win, and then played it flawlessly. Kerry Packer, the billionaire who gambled like the money meant nothing, because to him it didn't. Kerry Packer was an Australian media billionaire, and one of the highest stakes gamblers the world has ever seen. Casinos rolled out everything they had for him. He played up to 6 hands of blackjack at once, around $200,000 on each. On one night at the MGM Grand in 1997, he reportedly walked out $40 million richer. The stories about him are almost unbelievable. He once paid off a cocktail waitress's entire mortgage after a brief conversation, reportedly over $100,000. Another night, a loud Texan bragged that he was worth $100 million. Packer reportedly pulled a single coin from his pocket and offered to flip him for all of it. The Texan went quiet. His wins were so enormous that casinos genuinely feared him. A single good night for Kerry Packer could erase a casino's profits for an entire quarter. Charles Wells, the man who broke the bank at Monte Carlo 12 times. In 1891, a man named Charles Wells walked into the Monte Carlo casino with borrowed money, sat down at the roulette wheel, and did something that had never been seen. Back then, every roulette table held a fixed reserve of cash. Win all of it and the table was shut down and draped in a black cloth. They called it breaking the bank. Over 11 hours, Charles Wells broke the bank 12 times. Table after table went dark around him. He won close to £1,000,000, a staggering fortune. He came back months later and did it all over again. No one could explain it. The world was certain he had cracked some secret, unbeatable system. The truth was stranger. There was no system. It was pure astronomical luck. He became so famous he inspired a hit song, The Man Who Broke the Bank at Monte Carlo. The luck ran out. Wells later turned to fraud, was caught, and died with nothing. But for one impossible stretch, he beat the most famous casino on Earth 12 times over. Bill Benter, the man who wrote a computer program that won nearly $1 billion. Bill Benter started where many on this list did, counting cards. He was so good the casinos banned him for life. So he went hunting for a game they couldn't ban him from. He found it in Hong Kong, home to the most heavily bet horse races in the world. His goal sounded insane. Predict the outcome of horse races using pure mathematics. He spent years building a computer model that weighed hundreds of factors for every horse. Past races, jockey, weather, track conditions, tiny details everyone else ignored. For years it lost money. He nearly quit. Then he added one final factor, the public's own betting odds, and overnight the model started winning. And it did not stop winning. Over his career, Bill Benter's algorithm brought in close to $1 billion, making him, by the numbers, the most successful gambler who ever lived. He won so much that one night, holding a ticket worth millions, he simply gave it away. Collecting it would have drawn too much attention to a man who only ever wanted to be left alone with his math. 6 people who beat the unbeatable. A professor with a pencil, a team of students, a negotiator, a billionaire, a lucky Victorian, and a man with an algorithm. The house almost always wins. That's just math. But every so often, someone finds the one crack in the wall and walks out with a fortune the casino never believed it could lose. If you made it this far, leave a like and subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel more than you'd think, and there's a lot more coming.